I'm Kyle Mylan, and you need to watch my LinkedIn Lives because you're going to learn some shit, and sometimes I'm funny. We're here to talk about industrial sales, industrial marketing, technical sales. Then on today's episode, we're going to talk about how to build trust, which is the most important aspect.
Are you stepping up your sales game? It's almost the end of 2022.
All right, guys, we're going to do some cold calls. Hey, Bill, this is Kyle with Manufacturing Tribe, a Texas-based industrial sales and marketing company. On average, we create over 500 videos a year for our clients and write over 500 articles. Leave your comments in the comment section below. We will answer them when we come back. And if we don't have any questions, then I'm going to go on about my day. We'll be right back. Go to the YouTube channel, subscribe to it, please. Look at all the video content we have on there. I haven't spent 22 years in manufacturing to not know what I'm talking about. You need to watch my content. What's up, guys? I'm Kyle Mylan. Today is Wednesday, day before Thanksgiving, and I appreciate everybody saying that they're going to show up for this. If you guys are watching from home, leave a comment in the comment section and tell me, like, dude, I'm not even at work and I'm still watching your content. For those of you that are new to my content in the channel, head over to YouTube and subscribe, please. Turn on notifications. All of our videos are on YouTube. We've got over probably pushing 400 now. That's where all of our content lives. If you're coming from LinkedIn, the LinkedIn Live will be here for replay, but because we produce so much content, it'll get lost in the shuffle. So please go over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications if you find this content valuable, which hopefully you have in the first 60 seconds that you've been watching this. Is that good, Laura? Laura's giving me a thumbs up so we can move along. Audio and video is good. So if you guys are in technical sales, and you are pitching services or products, and on this video, I'm going to go through the tactics of how you can increase your likelihood to move people along in the process and actually increase your close rate on your pitches. So let's talk about presentations, pitches, everything in between. What is the purpose of giving a pitch? You guys are like, dude, I already know what the purpose is. I'm trying to sell something. But where I see a lot of people making the mistake is that they don't keep that in mind when they're doing the pitch. You have to look at your sales process. So first, we're going to talk about the purpose. The purpose of the pitch, obviously, at the end is to close the deal. But what's the purpose of the pitch as far as the next step? If you look at your sales process and the different stages that your pipeline goes through, if initially you're pitching, you're trying to get somebody on a demo, or you're trying to get an RFQ, or you're trying to get somebody on something, then that is the main thing that you need to focus on when you're pitching them. You do not need to talk to them about all these different things. You're just trying to move it to the next stage. And too often people are thinking like, well, I'm trying to close them. And if the RFQ stage is 3 stages down and you're trying to get them to that stage on the initial pitch, then that's completely circumventing the different deal stages. And you need to go back to, why am I calling this person? Why am I emailing this person? Why am I talking to them in person, doing a cold visit, whatever it is? Look to your pipeline stages and say, all right, from here, from you not knowing me, the next step is this. So in our case, the next step is a discovery call. For some of our clients, it's to book a demo to show off their software or things like that. You want, maybe if you're in industrial, your next step in it is that you want to talk about open projects or existing capabilities that they have with their supply chain, or you're trying to take away business from their existing suppliers and you want to be added as a supplier. If that's the next step and you need to gather information for it, that's what you're doing in that initial pitch. So you always have to think about it from the standpoint of, what is ideal goal that I want from this situation, and not just say the ideal goal is that they become a customer. That's not going to happen in the initial pitch typically, right? So if the ideal goal is I'm on this call, I'm meeting this person in person, or I'm doing cold visits, the next step is a demo or a discovery call, then everything that you say in that initial pitch needs to be focused around that being the end goal. Does that make sense to everybody? Hopefully it does, because too often I see people just going for, here's everything that I want to talk about. And we'll go into the different types of pitches that you have. So the next step is going to be looking at the material. So what material do you guys have that you're using to pitch? If you're doing it in person, do you have a brochure? Do you have a line card? If you're doing it over video, if you're saying like, all right, look, The first step is I want to get them on a demo, do a discovery call, whatever. Then once I'm on that step, I'm going to show them some material. I'm going to show them my website, my brochure, my pitch deck, whatever it is. We good? Okay. I just want to make sure. Jordan's over here looking at me, and I'm like, am I messing something up, dude? And so if the next step is always fun here at MFG Tribe, right? The next step is you want to show them some material, but too often people have like their material is so lengthy. Like you're doing the show up and throw up method where you're saying, here's everything that I want to show you. I've got a 48 slide deck. I'm going to show you all 48 slides. Each one of those slides on the deck has tons of words on it, 100 words, 200 words on it. I'm going to read through it. Your material is wasted. You should not be going through all of that stuff on your pitch. You need to keep the attention and the focus on yourself. And you can't do that if whether you're doing this through video conferencing, in person, whatever it is, you can't do that. If you throw something up on the screen and they're just reading it, and it's like you're reading what's on the screen. And I always feel like people really want to say like, yeah, dude, I could read that. You're literally reading off of the screen. That is the wrong way to do it. You have to look at it from a standpoint of you're trying to have a conversation. You want their attention on you. And if your material is pulling their attention away from you, then you need to adjust your material. You need to reduce it down. Now, I know that if you work for a bigger company and they're like, dude, this is the pitch deck they gave me, they won't let me edit it, anything like that, that's fine. Okay, if you have to use it, first go to your sales manager and be like, dude, Kyle said our stuff is way too lengthy and we're showing up and throwing up information. If still they're like, dude, I don't care what Kyle says, you still need to show it, then show it and tell these people, look, on this slide, there's a lot of information here. I'm not going to cover everything in this presentation. You guys can read this in your spare time. There's just 2 points in here that I really wanted to talk about, and pull out those 2 points and get their attention back on you. You want them paying attention to you. You don't want them getting sleepy reading your pitch decks or skipping ahead or printing things out ahead of time. You send them the pitch deck and they've got a copy in front of them. Like they're going to be skipping ahead, and you don't want to be the referee telling them to pay attention. The way to do that is to control it from the standpoint of what do you provide to them. If you provide minimal information to them in a pitch deck, and it's mainly them focusing on you and you talking to them, you can send them. They're going to be taking notes about what you say. You can say, hey, look, after this meeting, after this presentation, I will send you a copy of the full pitch deck that reviews the points that we talked about, and you can have that to review and keep it in your files. That's perfectly fine. But for the sake of this presentation, I want to basically tell you exactly what I want to show you in this presentation and go through the information that I feel like is 100% relevant to you. Saying something like that is way better than being like, okay, so we started in 1968 and this is how many machines we have, or this is what our software could do and all that stuff, and just throwing up that information because they're just like, and you're gonna lose the attention of them. So double check your material, make adjustments. Back when I was giving pitches, when I was in industrial and technical sales, I would throw out most of what was provided to me and just put a couple of words on the screen. One time, one of my pitch decks literally would have no more than 3 words on each slide. It would be like capabilities, and I would just know what the capabilities are and I'd run through them, but they're paying attention to me and they're taking tons of notes. And it's better to be engaging, like hopefully you guys are doing right now, in the comment section below saying, dude, Kyle, you're 100% right. This works. Put them in the comment section. I'm looking for engagement back from you to make sure that you're paying attention to me. That's what you're trying to do. So always cut your material. I guarantee most of you, 90% of the material in your pitch decks, you will not use. So cut it out. Tell them you'll send them a copy of all the information after the presentation. But right now, I want your attention solely focused on me. The next step is going to be fact finding. Okay. So you're here to deliver a solution. You are not here to sell a product. You are looking to gather information when you are pitching to people. You're looking to ask questions. 50% of the pitch should be them talking. You talk to anybody here at MFG Tribe on our stuff and any clients that we work with, Kyle always says the same thing. You want the potential customer talking more than you are. In order to do that, you have to ask questions. The key, though, is that you have to pay attention to the answers. A lot of times people ask questions just until they get a response in their mind, and they're not asking questions to actually understand and listen. So you want to go through a fact-finding process. If you could have all of the information in order for you to close this deal in front of you, what would those questions be? What is your current system like? What's your current revenue? Who are you currently working with? What's the biggest issue that you have with this current thing that you're trying to sell against? Whether it is uh, software solution, supply chain solution, logistics solution, whatever it is, ask some questions about what are they currently doing and what issues do they have. For one of our clients, I said, just ask them the question of why did you accept this demo request? Why did you accept this demo request with me? And they will tell you what is it that you said, what is it that they saw that sparked their interest enough to say yes to you requesting a demo. And then continue to ask more questions. If you've got 30 minutes to pitch to somebody, I want them talking for 15 of it. You do not need to be filling up the air with your voice. You need to be asking strategic questions, waiting, listening to their response, and then asking follow-up questions based on what it is they respond with. That it's supposed to be a conversation. It is not supposed to be the old school way, traditional way of being show up and throw up. Hey, thanks for taking 20 minutes to meet with me. I'm going to run through our product. I'm going to ask you throughout the time that I'm presenting to you, do you have any questions? They're going to say no. You're going to talk some more, ask them, do you have any questions? They're going to say no again. In the end, can you really build a proposal? Can you do an RFQ to it? Can you send them a quote? Most of the times you can't because you've lacked that engagement. So go into it. 100% mindset is I want to do fact finding first. And then the key is what you actually present to them is based on the fact finding. So you got to be somewhat nimble. I never went into any sales presentation with a plan in mind. I go into it the same way. Hey, look, I'm trying to have a conversation with you. I'm going to ask you some relatively standard questions. What are you guys currently doing? What are you looking to do with this solution? What are the issues that you're currently having? And then I'm going to base my responses off of their answers. And if I do need to show them something, then I am going to show them something that's relative to what they said. But if you go into it showing them things that aren't relative, guess what? You're going to lose their attention. Hopefully, I haven't lost your attention enough and you guys are engaging, going back to the previous point. But hopefully, you're still here and listening to this. And that's what the key is. You have to get their attention, get their engagement. Throwing up information, asking them, do you have any questions, is not the way to do it. Fact finding first, then present to them only things specific to the fact finding questions. So asking them about their supply chain, do they, with their current suppliers, with this type of machinery, with this type of manufacturing service, with this type of software solution, what are the top issues that you guys are having? And they say, you know what? A big issue that we have is we have X, Y, and Z. Perfect. I'm going to show you a little bit later in this presentation about how we can offer a solution to that. People want customized solutions to their problems. They do not want cookie cutter stuff where they just fit within the box, right? They want to make sure that the people on the other side of the table want to make sure that you as a salesperson are going to listen to what they have to say and offer them something specific and build that trust, right? Like all my videos say, you can't close anything without building trust first. In order for you to build trust, you have to ask questions, listen to their responses, offer up a specific solution to those problems that they're having. They're going to think that you're listening to them. They're going to know that you are because you're offering them something customized to it. You're presenting them information that's relevant to their specific situation, and then they're going to start building trust with you. That's the only way to get them to a close is if you're building trust. But you have to first do the fact finding, ask questions, and wait for the answers. And you need to listen to it because too often I hear salespeople recorded calls, discovery calls, booking demos, whatever it is of our clients, and I'm watching, listening to the interaction I have, and too often the person on the other end of the phone, the video, whatever, is not done saying their sentence or asking their question completely, and the salesperson is chomping at the bit to give a response, right? You need to wait until there's a pause. There's nothing wrong with awkward pauses. Let the person completely end speaking, pause, count to 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then respond to them. That is the way to have a conversation, not jump back at them and say, yeah, you know what? We do have a solution for that, because you don't know what else they were going to say. So you have to pause and put that 2 to 3 second gap in between. Let's talk about the different methods of pitching. You've got the phone, you've got in person, you've got through video. Everything still applies. If you're on the phone and you want to get them to a demo or a discovery call or something in video, then simply use the phone to do that. You're not going to be able to show them things over the phone unless you say, hey, if you got 5 minutes right now, jump on the computer, we'll do a meeting link. Maybe sometimes that could happen, but focus on getting them to the in-person or something on video. Same thing with in-person and video. You're still going to run the room. You're still going to run the pitch the exact same, regardless of if you're in person, through video, or on the phone. but it's just going to matter of do you have the tools available? So if you're on the phone, you can't show them something, you're obviously going to adjust your pitch accordingly to get them on a video call to be able to show something to them, present your screen, go face to face. But there isn't like, if I'm on the phone, it's this type of pitch, or if I'm in person, this is the type of pitch. Your pitch is your pitch, right? You go from them not knowing you or your product or solution that you're trying to sell to them knowing you and wanting to purchase it. So moving them to those next stages, going back to the first point that we were talking about, if you're going to move them to the next stage, it doesn't matter if it's in person, on video, or on the phone. It's all the same. The more that you can become proficient in your pitch and say it in the mirror, say it to other people, pitch what it is, handle objections, handle the type of response you're going to get, then the more fluent you're going to be in it, you're going to be more confident, and you're not going to stumble and fumble on your words trying to figure out like, oh, what do I say to this? They asked me a question. So it doesn't matter what method you're doing with this, doesn't matter what the situation is. We're not talking about like, you've got 60 seconds to pitch me your idea because I'm an investment group. That's completely different. But from 99.9% of the time, it will not matter how the method of how you're pitching to them does not really come into anything that you're going to say or do differently, unless it has to do with physically showing them something. The next steps. So let's talk about what is the next steps in the pitch. After, you always got to be thinking what the next steps are. If you're on the phone, you go into a demo or RFQ or a discovery call, whatever it is, you have to be thinking, while I'm in this stage of the pipeline, what is the next stage? And what do I need to be asking that's relevant to move somebody to that next stage? The last thing you want to do is have a discovery call with somebody, have a demo with somebody, and be like, okay, thanks so much for taking the time to speak with me. You hang up, you close out of the meeting, you leave the office or whatever, and you're like, okay, so what's the next step? Well, the next step is I want to send them pricing. Do you have all the information available to send them pricing? Well, no, I don't. I didn't ask them this, and that. I need to get them to fill out this form, whatever it is. You need to, before you close that stage of the pipeline, be thinking about the next steps and bring that into that conversation and say, look, I want to send you pricing. You can never close anybody if they don't have pricing, and you can never close anybody if they don't have a quote in front of them, right? It's physically impossible. They have to sign something, approve something. So since you can't close somebody, you need to create a quote. You need to do a proposal. So if that's the next stage of the pipeline, then you have to bring that in. Look, I want to send you a proposal. I want to get some pricing in front of you. So let me ask you a couple of questions so that way I can properly present this to you. Ask all those fact-finding questions if you haven't already. Hopefully you did in the beginning, and all this kind of ties into I'm asking them questions in the initial fact-finding that then funds and feeds my answers and my responses and how I'm going to build out this proposal. Hopefully you've done that. If you haven't, be like, dude, last part of the checklist, do I need something to generate pricing? Ask them those specific questions and say, these are the next steps. If it's okay with you, I would like to send you over a proposal specific to what we just talked about, so you could then meet with your team or look at it personally or whatever it is. You need to talk about those next steps, get them to confirm, yes, you know what, that would be great. Or maybe they say, you know what, hold off on that because I need to bring 2 other people into the conversation. I need to get their input, and maybe we might want to change the scope of what solution you guys are providing to me, which is perfectly fine. You need to be, one of the fact-finding questions you need to ask, what is your decision-making process, right? If other people need to be involved and other people need to be involved in the decision, then you need to find that out up front so you know what you're working with. And they may say, no, let's hold off on pricing for right now, which is perfectly fine. But you're constantly thinking about, all right, before I close out this meeting, before I end this phone call, did I move them to the next stage? Did I ask the questions? Did I gather all the information that I need before I close this out and move on to the next step? So hopefully that gives you guys some relevant information on how to pitch. We're going to take a short break and come back, and I better see some comments because I know a lot of people are at home today, working from home, not in the office with Turkey Day coming around the corner. So hopefully we get some engagement. We will be right back.
How should I go about cold calling?
The people that you're calling, they don't have time. They don't have patience. You need to get direct to the point. For the marketing people out there, industrial marketers, just because you're in marketing doesn't mean that you don't have to look at things on a weekly basis. And I'm like, look, I know that I need to get into automation, one, for the labor shortage because I can't find people.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people in our industries of industrial that are doing fun things with TikTok. But I feel like you have to adapt, right? Did you see some instant spike in activity?
9 to 5, just make enough to survive. Only living on the weekends. You really thinking that's why I'm alive?
All right, guys, we're back after that short break. Hopefully you enjoy the video content that our team puts out. Let's jump into the comments, see how many people are paying attention to this live. Let's go to the comments. Lara.
All right, I'm going to do a quick live audio check because the microphone was dead.
Go for
Don't want to
it.
blow out anyone's earbuds. Let's see. John Casbon said at work on this
John's
day
at
before
work.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, dude, you're at work. You're hustling. I love that. Let's go.
Penny Thorne, always working.
Penny, you are always working and you're always on our lives, and I appreciate you for joining. Hopefully we're providing some valuable content for you.
Let's see. Rakesh says, thanks for making the requested video. He actually requested this topic on a YouTube comment.
There you go. See, guys, you leave comments in the comment section. We were meeting internally yesterday, and Lara's like, you know what? We got this comment on YouTube about presentations. We should do a video on that. And I was like, there you go. That's the video we're going to do tomorrow. So you guys leave comments, make requests. We create the content for you.
All right. And from Shane Grant. As a service business, my main focus when developing a new relationship is to find out where the pain is. That is usually very easy to find out, but answering with a solution really sells. They want to know how you can solve the problem and why you're different than their other vendors. It seems simple, but I have always found that if you do what you say, then you will always have clients. Still learning, but I'm getting better as the years go.
Yeah, exactly. Shane, you couldn't have said it any better, dude. I couldn't have said it any better. Like, that's exactly right. Like, this method works, but too often, most of your competition is still doing the show up and throw up. I don't care if you're selling machining or you're selling machines, capital equipment, services. Most of the time, salespeople go into it and they just do the show up and throw up. And they're like, here's everything I got. What do you want to buy? It's like the dude on Lower Wacker Drive in Chicago that's got a trench coat with a bunch of watches in it, right? And it's like, dude, which one do you like? You can't do it like that. You have to develop it and sell it as a solution. The only way to do that is do fact finding and work through this process that I just talked about. And that is how you can build trust and make them understand that you're listening to them, you're offering them a solution to their pain points. And honestly, sometimes as you ask these questions, people may come back and be like, you know what? Nobody's ever asked me that before. I've never thought of it like that. Like, let me think about it for a minute. Give them some time to think about it before they respond to you, because too often salespeople are just trying to sell, and you need to ask questions, listen, and then sell based on what those responses are.
Let's see. Blake Hendrickson says, hey, Kyle, keep it up. Love your content.
All right, Blake, we love you for watching, dude. We appreciate you back.
And then we have from Zaid. What is the most crucial thing in pitching?
The most crucial thing in pitching is listening. Like, I don't know. It's not even like what you say. It's are you listening to what they're saying? Too often people are focused on themselves and what they're saying, when you need to just ask a question and then listen and then respond specifically to that. Salespeople typically do not listen closely, specifically to what somebody said. They're listening to respond instead of listening to understand.
Let's see. Rakesh said, Kyle, suppose if we are in technical service providing, how much data do we have to show our customer?
Only show them as much data as you need to close the deal, right? Don't like if showing them data is important in order for you to prove to them that you can do what you say that you can do, then don't get lost in the data, right? Like, don't, because if you show them too much, they're just going to get they're going to get overwhelmed with the information. Too often, technical salespeople, like I have an engineering background, but I'm not a degreed engineer. I'm a salesperson first. I understand technical things at a very high level. Too often, very technical people go to where they're comfortable, which is talking about technical things. So they go in, show up, and throw up the information. Then they get way down the weeds of the technical stuff that might not contribute or provide enough value into the conversation. So I would say show them some high level data in order to get the conversation moving along, and then ask them questions if there's specific things they want to see about the data, or what are some concerns that you have about the data, or what are some of your main issues, things like that, and then only show them stuff that is relevant to their responses.
Okay, the last question today is kind of on theme. Mark Landers says, I'm working on my appetite. What's your favorite dish for Thanksgiving?
Mark, my favorite dish for Thanksgiving, I'm just classic turkey, man. That's what I want. Turkey, mashed potatoes, corn. I don't do cranberries, stuffing, love some stuffing. I don't do cranberries. I don't do pumpkin pie. Like my dad, that stuff just chokes me. It gets stuck right in my throat, makes me want to vomit. So I'm not a huge pumpkin type person, but I'm a classic American type of Thanksgiving, and just regular in the oven turkey. I don't do like Alex here was like, oh, we do one fried, one in the oven, one whatever. Never done any of that. I'm old school, classic, blue collar, whatever, where we just throw a turkey in the oven and cook it. So I'm a basic bitch like that. All right, that's all the comments that Laura has. I got everybody laughing with that BB comment. Hopefully LinkedIn doesn't flag me for cussing. So everybody have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. If you're not currently subscribed to the YouTube channel, go over to YouTube, subscribe to it, turn on notifications so you get notified every video that we post up there. If we're not connected on LinkedIn, send me a connection request. And as long as you're not trying to sell me some shit I don't need, I will accept it. We'll be back live next week, Monday and Wednesday, with our regular scheduled show. Noon Central Standard Time on Monday is Ask Kyle. If you have specific questions that you want asked, send an email over to askkyle@mfgtribe.com. We will cover those then. Any comments that you guys leave in these videos on the replays or on the live posts, we check them out. If you have a topic that you want us to talk about, put them in the comment section, just like it happened on YouTube, and we will do an entire show around that specific topic. So without further ado, are we good, Laura? Mm-hmm. So without further ado, that'll close us out. Have a good Thanksgiving, and we will see you on the next one.